You're watching NBA Now by Chat Sports. I am Harrison Graham. It is mailbag time, so if you have any questions, use hashtag NBA or Super Chat to get those questions on the show. And if you do use that hashtag NBA or Super Chat, we'll be able to get your questions on as soon as possible. We'll start with Evan Henders here. Should Chicago go after Russell Westbrook? Well, based on their current sense of direction, they probably will, because I think they should rebuild, but they traded into the draft to draft Julian Phillips, not really a developmental piece, more of a win-now piece, so maybe they are going to keep this core together of Zach LaVine, DeMar DeRozan, re-sign Vucevic, who knows. I think it's a bad idea to do that, but doesn't look like they're necessarily ready to hit that reset button. Isaac Yacero, who ends up with Dame because Dame needs to make a big three in Dallas. The only way the Mavericks would get Dame is if they sent Kyrie to Portland in some sort of sign-in trade, but if the Blazers are moving on from Dame, that's because they're committing to Scoot Henderson as their future. So I don't think Dame in Dallas makes any sense whatsoever, barring something unforeseen. Christopher C., what about a Kawhi trade to OKC? I think Kawhi might retire if he got traded to the Thunder. I'm not even joking. He might just be like, you know what? I like living on the West Coast. I'm not moving to OKC. I'm done. I think it would be interesting if he could stay healthy. They have a lot of good young talent in SGA and Josh Giddey and some other pieces there as well, but I don't really see that being the case. The Kangs, Sexton or Bruce Brown for the Mavs? I think I'd rather have Bruce Brown. A, you don't have to trade for him. And B, I think he'll be cheaper than Sexton's 4-year, $80 million contract. Brown could play a prominent role off the bench or as a starter. Now, I think you wonder, is Bruce Brown going to fit in the full mid-level exception, which the Mavs have now? $12.4 million. Is that the type of contract he'll get, or will he cost more? If he costs more, the Mavs don't really have a chance at him. But I think there's at least a slight possibility that they could get him now. So if you could, I would love that. Defensive intensity, good enough shooter, can start or come off the bench. I would like that fit quite a bit. Will the Mavericks make the playoffs? Type Y for yes, or you can type N for no. Let us know in the comment section down below. Will the Dallas Mavericks make the playoffs? Y for yes or N for no. Maya's World, Harrison Graham, what was your reaction when Bradley Beal got traded to the Suns? And also, what's your reaction on Chris Paul to the Golden State Warriors? Starting with Beal, I understand why Phoenix did it. They didn't have to give up a ton to get him. Now, I'm not convinced that core works in terms of winning a title. It'd be a fun 2K team. They're going to score a lot of points, but how do him, Durant, and Booker split touches? How does it all work? I'm fascinated to see. And then Chris Paul to the Warriors, I think if he's your backup point guard and running that second-team offense, that's a good role for him. So I don't think he should start for that team, and I don't think he will. LLA Dubs, what is Orlando going to do with 15 guards and 4 centers? It's a good question. They need to move one of their guards, whether it's Jalen Suggs or if it's who's the guy from North Carolina a couple years ago, Orlando guard, Cole Anthony. Thank you very much. I think one of those guys gets moved, and yeah, you need to start adding wings to that nucleus. Shout out Mike Dibble, one of our NBA draft legends here. Do you think they will shorten the draft next year? The amount of picks isn't the problem. It's the amount of time each pick takes. Like, I think it's 7 minutes per pick in the first round. There is no way some of those picks were less than 7 minutes. I mean, they just stretched the time limits there. So they got to figure that out. You're going to lose audience because when you're taking 10 minutes a pick in the 20s and 30s and early into round 2, that's not good television. If you love the NBA and if you love our coverage here, hit that subscribe button. Free agency is just around the corner. Lots of analysis to come here at Chat Sports. YouTube.com/ChatSportsTV. Do not go anywhere as we've got you covered all offseason long. SXN Dragon, Draymond Green to the Bulls. I don't know why either party would do that. Again, I don't think the Bulls should be trying to win a title right now. I don't think they're close enough. And if you're Draymond Green, why would you go there? Like, if he leaves Golden State, it's got to be for a team that's got a better chance to win a championship than Chicago. Vamp, can you describe how Dame-Scoot pairing will work, or are they just drafting his replacement? I think Dame gets moved, but if he stays, then, that's you do one of two things. One, you have Scoot come off the bench as a rookie, or two, that's your backcourt, and Simons is like a super sixth man, but I just don't see that being the case. I think you move forward with Scoot Henderson and Anthony Simons as your backcourt. Shaedon Sharpe can either play the three or be a super sixth man, and you trade Dame for picks and pieces. From Taploid, Victor Wembanyama, will he live up to expectations? Depends what your expectations are, right? Like, undisputed Hall of Famer, I mean, that's a lot to live up to, but very good NBA player that should be a multi-time All-Star, I think that will happen. Like, I think at worst, he's a multi-time All-Star who is a very high-level contributor in the NBA for a long time. At best, he's a Hall of Fame talent and one of the greatest players of all time. We'll have to wait and see if he's able to do that, but I think that that's at least somewhat within the realm of possibility for him. Now, grade Victor Wembanyama as a player, 1 to 100. If I'm creating 2K right now, I'm going to make him like an 84, 85. I obviously have to see him play in the NBA, but he's easily the highest rated rookie this year. Yeah, I'm playing. What do they do at point guard? Brogdon is hurt and Pritchard doesn't want to be there. Well, you're hoping, assuming they keep Brogdon now, they tried to trade him. You're hoping, by the season he's ready to go. Does Pritchard change his mind now that Marcus Smart is gone? If you promise him a prominent role off the bench, I mean, does that convince him to stay? I think that could be a possibility. But if Brogdon's healthy, I think he's the point guard, and you go from there. He's not like the perfect true point, but when you have Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum, you don't necessarily need like the quote-unquote floor general type. Michael Panza, what are your top undrafted free agents? Well, my guy Mike Miles Jr. out of TCU went to the Dallas Mavericks, but here were some of the top players that went undrafted. Ricky Council out of Arkansas, Terquavian Smith out of NC State, someone who can really score, Charles Bediako, Jabari Rice, all these players we had as draftable players. Rice has already landed in San Antonio, and depending on when you watch this, a lot of these guys, if not all of them, will have been picked up. But all of these four guys in particular were all draftable players in our eyes. James Yoder, will we be allowed to say Bronny during the 2024 NBA draft? That depends. Will the 2024 NBA draft be over or under 5 hours? If it's over, we will not be allowed to say it. If it's under, we will be allowed to say it. So we'll see. From Ka, why do the Bulls fail us? I just, for you Chicago sports fans, the Bulls right now really remind me of like the second half of the Nagy Pace era. I think they're a little delusional in how good they can be right now. Like, it was clear after 2019 that Bears era, like that opportunity of being a contender had kind of closed. Trubisky wasn't the guy. The defense was aging. Like, that had become clear. Yet in 2020 and 2021, they tried to stay in win-now mode. It did not work. I think the Bulls are in the same way. I think they look back to 2 seasons ago, and they're like, through 50 games, we were the number 1 seed in the East. Well, big part of that was Lonzo Ball, and he's been hurt ever since. I get you finished fairly strong this last year, and could the Bulls be a playoff team? I do think they could be a playoff team, but they're not a team that can contend for a title. They're not close to that. And if you're not close to that, trade some of your assets and hit that reset button. It's very frustrating to see the direction that they're trying to go in. Appreciate you guys for tuning in to NBA Now by Chat Sports. If you want more coverage, post-draft analysis, free agency rumors, and news with free agency set to start next Friday, trade buzz, and everything else in between, hit the subscribe button. It's 100% free.